Week 3 of the NFL season is right around the corner here, Steelers Nation. You guys have cooked up some great questions for me today on this week's Steelers Talk Mailbag, where I answer your questions on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's just jump right into it here with our first question from Autumn McCaddy here, a $5 super chat. And she says, I hope it's a she. She says, I feel like we can't judge Kenny until we can get a competent OC in there because there's no reason we have all that talent and we can't score. So this is what I'll say, Autumn. Let's give Kenny credit where it's due, and let's give him blame where it's due, and then same thing with Matt Canada. You know, I'm somebody that watches every single snap of the Pittsburgh Steelers on the All-22. So when I look at a play, you know, I'll look at all the variables, right? I don't want to take like a blanket statement and say Kenny Pickett isn't to blame here because I look at the film, and there's definitely reps on there, lots of them, where it's on him. It's not even necessarily on Canada. Now, I'm not saying that Canada has given him a great environment to grow and develop. That's definitely not the case. But, man, when you got a quarterback that has open receivers on third down and multiple times, like it's wide misses. You look at the on-target and catchable percentages here throughout his first couple of games, about 1 in every 4 throws is a wide miss. It's deemed uncatchable. That is absolutely atrocious. That's last in the National Football League, and that's on Kenny, right? That's not on the offense. The offensive coordinator cannot throw it for the quarterback, so it's looking like Kenny's having some accuracy issues. He's always had some issues sticking in the pocket. You know, there's things that I like about him. I love his leadership. I love his ability to get outside the pocket and make plays. I love his work ethic, all these different things, and I'm not totally giving up on him, but there's definitely reason for the alarm bells to sound. Then we got one from Ajayi Haj here, who says, will Kenny improve in week 3? I freaking hope so, man. Las Vegas, you know, the one little glimmer of hope here that I have is that the Browns and 49ers defenses, respectively, they're great defenses, okay? The talent is all over the place. They got great pass rushes, all these different things. Las Vegas is different. They got Max Crosby, who's an elite edge rusher there, but that's about it. That's really their only dynamic talent on that defense, and the secondary's not very good. It's not very talented at all. Marcus Peters is their number 1 corner right now, so this is definitely a situation where Kenny Pickett needs to step up and show us that he is the guy here in Pittsburgh. It's going to be very interesting. I think we're going to learn a lot about Kenny in this game. If he stinks again, it might be time to talk about him being a bust in the National Football League. Now, be honest with me down there in the comment section. What is your confidence level in Mr. Kenny Pickett right now? Put it on a scale of 1 to 10. And this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw in an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then we got a question from Illusion Aviator here who says, how long do you think until Tomlin legitimately wants Canada to go? You know, it's definitely tough because Mike Tomlin's loyal to Matt Canada. He's loyal to the people in his organization. That's why the Steelers are so respected around the league. But there are times, man, where somebody's not getting the job done, and you got to say sayonara. You got to show him the door. And Matt Canada is Exhibit A of that type of example, man. He needs to go. And if this offense doesn't get better throughout probably the next 2 weeks, right? If the offense still stinks, even after playing the Raiders and the Texans, who have struggling defenses right now, I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we expecting things to turn around against better defenses? Certainly not. So I think Matt Canada, the clock is definitely ticking on Canada. If things don't get better by the bye, I would expect a new offensive coordinator to take over. Then we got one from my man Alex Manerful here. He says, will the Steelers look for a QB at the deadline if Big Ken is still struggling? I mean, I think that they might if somebody becomes available, right? There's the Teddy Bridgewaters of the world that are still out there, Jacoby Brissett. You know, there's some decent replacement level starters out there that are currently backups. But I think that they feel good about Mitchell Trubisky if they need to go to him. Now, I really think they're going to give Kenny Pickett a long stretch of road here, right? He's got a long leash, all right? He's somebody that's second year in the league, right? He's the guy that drafted in the first round. They don't want to bench him because if you do, you're pretty much destroying his confidence and, you know, you're really not believing in him as your starting quarterback any longer. So they're going to take their time to make that decision. They're not going to make that decision until they're 100% sure that that's the right call. So, you know, it might be I mean, I really don't think they're going to move off Kenny this year. If they do, I think it's probably going to be Mitch because he has the experience in the offense. He had a couple pretty decent games last year. I know he gets blasted for, the 3 interception games against the Ravens, and then overall the offense wasn't great with him in. But he did come in that Tampa Bay game. Good defense there in Tampa, and he led this team to a victory. So I think they like Mitch as their backup quarterback. If they end up benching Pickett, which I think is very unlikely at this point, even if he keeps struggling, I think Mitch should probably be their guy. All right, coming up here, I got more questions from you, the fans of Steelers Nation. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor at Odds Are. Today's Steelers Talk video is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, Odds Are. Go to oddsr.com/NFL Daily to start with a 30-day free trial. If you've ever wished that you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro, then Odds Are is perfect for you. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you've always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience so far, and I think you will too, especially since Steelers Talk listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game today and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it at oddsr.com/NFL Daily. That's oddsr.com/NFL Daily. Now let's see how this kind of works, okay? So this is what you're going to see when you go into the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Las Vegas Raiders game this weekend, for example, when you go to the Odds Are app. And what this does here is it gives you a red light, a yellow light, or a green light. Red means do not bet. It's not a good value based on the AI, based on the trends, based on everything going around in the NFL right now. Yellow is you could do it if you feel strongly about it, but it's not a great value. But if it's green, like the over-under here, 43 points on this football game, here it's telling you to take the over. It says it's a green value. It's a great value. Got to get it. You cannot miss that value. It's absolutely fantastic, guys. So if you want that 30-day free trial for this incredible AI experience with sports betting, if you want to start making more money with your sports betting apps today, go to oddsr.com/NFL Daily for a 30-day free trial right now. The next question is coming in from Lane Ewig here, who says Jaylen Warren needs to be the 3-down back. He brings the explosiveness this offense needs right now. Now, listen, this is what I'll say, man. Jaylen Warren has been very impressive to me here through these first 2 weeks. He's gotten more explosive plays than Najee Harris has, both as a rusher and as a pass catcher. But listen, man, there's not really many true 3-down backs in the National Football League anymore, right? With how much wear and tear these guys get throughout their careers, teams are really going to 2 running back and sometimes even 3 running back committees where they get to share the different roles here. Most teams have a workhorse where they get most of the plays on first and second down, and then they have a 3rd down back to come in who's a good blocker, who's a good receiver, who has a specific skill set. And Jaylen is supposed to be that 3rd down back. I think he's a really good 3rd down guy, one of the best in the league. But with the way Najee Harris is playing, I mean, at one point, this past game on Monday night, he had 6 rushes for 4 yards. I mean, part of that is on the offensive line for sure. The offensive line is the main engine of the run game. But, man, I mean, what's the excuse for Jaylen Warren there? I mean, he's running with the same offensive line, and he's getting to the line of scrimmage faster with more explosiveness. So, I don't think Jaylen Warren needs to be on the field for every single down. I still think you need to split it a little bit. But because of the way Warren's playing, I think you certainly have to split it up a little bit more evenly right now when it comes to the total snap count between Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. If Najee completely falls off here and it's in the weeks to come, Warren really establishes himself as the guy here in the run game, I would 100% agree with you. I would just say right now it is a little bit early to make that kind of change. Then we got one from the Iron Curtain here. He says, is it time for the Steelers to start Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr.? Yes, it is, 100%. Dan Moore Jr. is one of the lowest, if not the lowest graded offensive tackle in football right now, in the NFL, I should say. I mean, if you got a first-round rookie waiting in the wings, go ahead, put him in there. He can't be any worse than what we're getting with Dan Moore Jr. right now. And listen, man, we heard all these good things about Dan Moore Jr. this offseason, how he's completely reinvented himself. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it, man. He's been really, really bad for these first 2 weeks. He's getting cooked regularly. And Broderick Jones at this point, man, I'd put the kid out there and see what he can do. When it comes to Joey Porter Jr., he's been kind of in a limited spot here. He's been more of a rotational guy when either Patrick Peterson or Levi Wallace gets gets tired, I should say. And he comes in these big moments, third down, fourth down, late game situations. And he had the game-winning PBU on Monday versus Cleveland. The fans want JPJ and Broderick Jones to play. I think at this point, with the way that Levi Wallace has looked, Patrick Peterson has looked, you got to give Joey Porter Jr. a shot. And with the way Dan Moore Jr. is looking right now at left tackle, it seems like you got to give the first-round rookie a shot at that left tackle position as well, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Which players should start? Do you think just Joey Porter Jr. should get a shot? Give me a JPJ. Do you think it should be just Broderick Jones? Give me a BJ. Or if you think both should get the starting opportunity moving forward, type both in all caps down there in the comments section. Then we got one from Pittsburgh Steelers fan 8 here who says, Steelers talk, how do you feel about Presley Harvin's performance on Monday? I liked it quite a bit. You know, there was a couple of those touchbacks that you don't really love, but he had a couple really well-placed punts. I mean, Mike Tomlin's been calling him out in press conference after press conference here, even going back to last season. And he really stepped up and really showed us what they saw in him when they drafted him, right? I think that he's somebody that he's always had the physical potential to be a really good punter in this league, just hasn't been able to put it together to this point. On Monday night, I thought he looked pretty darn good. He had that one where it was perfectly placed on the sideline, right at the pylon at the 1-yard line. That's the stuff you want to look for in your future punter, and hopefully he can continue that success moving forward. Then we got one from Robert Folsom here. It says, TJ Watt is the defensive player of the year this year and will have 24 sacks. I mean, that's a bold prediction there, Robert. I mean, but right now he's on target to have over 30 sacks, right? He already has 4 to start this season. It's absolutely incredible to see what he's been able to do through these first 2 games. And listen, I'm not going to put anything past TJ. I think he could absolutely have 20-plus sacks this year. 24 is going to be tough to get. That beats the all-time single-season record by a whole sack and a half. So, I mean, I don't know, man. That's going to be tough. But if anybody could do it, it's going to be TJ Watt. And I do agree with you, by the way. I think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Then we got one from Terry Bradshaw himself. What's up, my man? Says, where do you see the Steelers finishing in the AFC North after what you've seen from the first 2 weeks? Think they still make the playoffs? Now, this is what I'll say. I'm always going to believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers, but here's the thing. If we get the Steelers the way that they played the first 2 weeks for the rest of this season, I'm going to say they get to like 8-9, 9-8, and they probably miss the playoffs. Probably 3rd place in the AFC North. I know the Bengals are struggling right now, but Burrow's eventually going to get healthy, and they're going to go on a run at the end of the season. Baltimore is 2-0 right now. Cleveland, I think their season's over now with Nick Chubb out and Deshaun Watson not looking good. I think they'll be last. I don't think the Steelers will be dead last in the division this year. But unless things really turn around offensively, and really I don't have any evidence to think that it will get a lot better moving forward. I really hope it does. We're going to be here on the channel documenting this season, everything that goes on. But based on what I've seen so far with Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett and the Steelers offense, I have to say I think they finished 3rd and they missed the playoffs. Now predict it for me down there in the comments section. Where will the Steelers finish in the AFC North this season? Do you feel confident in these guys? Do you feel less confident than you did going into the season? Let me know your feelings down there in the comments section. I want to hear from you guys. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. Thank you to everybody that got their questions in this week. If you want to join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community here on the platform, you can subscribe to the channel today, join our family, and you can have your voice heard here on the channel every single week by joining us for our mailbags on the Steelers Talk Live show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.